Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is David Porchap here, coming at you with a brand new top 10 list for you to enjoy. Not sure if anybody's come up with a list quite like this one before, and if they haven't, well, this is the first one of its kind. If they have, then cool. But this one's just my own opinion here and whatnot. This is going to be top 10 dickish moves by Disney characters. Okay, so let me explain what I mean here. First of all, I'm excluding villains because they're automatically going to be dicks or whatnot here. This is going to be moves by characters that are not necessarily considered villains here. Because of the nature of the way Disney is nowadays with Pixar, I'm letting Pixar films into the mix here. The movies are not ranked in any way, except maybe the first number one, but I'll get into that later. Also, just to be clear, I haven't seen every single Disney movie here. I'm keeping this limited to animated movies and, like the main canon, like the Snow Whites and Frozen and that sort of stuff, those sort of movies, But Pixar movies are going to be included in the mix as well here, so it might as well be top 10 dickish moves by Disney or slash Pixar characters or whatever, maybe I'll make that the title. Yeah, here we go. So, what do you say we rock and roll with this list here and go from there, okay? And, okay, here we go. This is the top 10 dickish moves by Disney slash Pixar characters. Number 10, Abu from Aladdin. Okay, now let me provide context here, like I'm going to do with every single one of these scenes here. Abu, Aladdin's faithful buddy there, monkey, cute little guy or whatnot. It's all good there. Okay, so after Aladdin and Abu escape the guards or whatnot, after they steal that loaf of bread, they land somewhere, and Aladdin splits the bread, and he sees a couple of poor little kids there. And Aladdin doesn't even hesitate. He gets up and hands his bread over. But Abu at first, takes a bite out of the piece of bread, and Aladdin is motivated to give his piece of bread over to the kids who need it there. Now, mind you, just the fact that he first, Abu, sees the kids and feels bad. That's why I only put this at number 10. Because he recognizes it, what he did was kind of fucked up, and he reluctantly does give the bread over, but then he realized he did the right thing, and the kids are cute or whatever, they're hungry or whatnot, so it's all good though. But still, it was kind of a dick move for him to just take a bite out of the piece of bread there and then give it to them. But the fact is, he did recognize he goofed up there, so this moment is not so bad, all things considered there, and he does make up for it later on by helping Aladdin with the whole thing with the lamp. Mind you, he does cause the problem with the whole, inside the Cave of Wonders there, where it causes it to, he grabs the gem and causes the Cave of Wonders to collapse and stuff there. But that's a whole other story, though. But I'm saying in terms of being, purely dickish behavior there, that's why this one's number 10. Number 9, The Crows from Dumbo. Okay. Now, before anybody says anything here, I'm not going to get into the whole thing about them supposedly being racial stereotypes or anything like that, For the purposes of this list, this is not really relevant. I'm not going to get into that here. So if you're looking for that part of the discussion, just move on, okay? Alright. I remember seeing Dumbo when I was very young there, and I related to him because, the whole thing about and being made fun of because of being different or whatnot. And I think a lot of people can relate to that in some way, shape, or form there. But, okay. So within the movie, he ends up drinking the spiked water or whatnot, and Tim, the mouse, also drinks from there. And then you have the whole pink elephant sequence, and then they wake up and they're both sleeping in a tree, and the crows come upon them. You know the story there. They wake up, and then they're like, holy crap, we were up in a tree, or whatever, what the hell, and, the crows bring about the idea that they flew, but then, they start making fun of them, the crows start making fun of Dumbo and whatnot, see an elephant fly, that whole musical number, and then Tim calls them out on them being assholes. And then they recognize that they were assholes and, apologize. And they're crying and everything. And then the crows help they motivate Tim to allow Dumbo the opportunity to fly with the whole magic feather thing. And so that's what they did. So, but still the fact that they laughed at Dumbo and made fun of him about an elephant flying and all that stuff there at first, I thought, it's kind of messed up there, And I don't consider them villains or anything like that, There you go. So, number 9, The Crows from Dumbo. Here we go. Let's continue. Number 8, The Araquan, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that incorrectly, from The Three Caballeros. Yeah, a bit of a lesser known one here, but let me provide context here. I mean, The Three Caballeros is that one where it's one of those movies with a bunch of little cartoons put together, and it was done primarily to appeal to the Latin American market or whatnot there during the whole World War II era and such here. Donald met up with, 2 of the characters and learned a little bit about, Brazil and Mexico and such there, which is great. It's a fun movie, all things considered. It's weird, but it's fun. But at one point early on, when before Donald met the other two main characters, he ends up coming across the Araquan bird, who's very mischievous and whatnot there. And at first you see him and like, okay, that's pretty funny. But then the first time that Jose comes up, I believe, yeah, Jose. He's talking about Bahia, and then the Araquan comes out and takes his cigar from him, and he actually messes up with the picture there. He actually pulls the picture to the side there, where you see it's all animated and it's fake, of course, but, he messes with the whole picture. And Jose is not pleased about this, obviously. He calls him loco and a very stupid fellow or whatnot there. But then the Araquan later on, in the sequence where Donald and Jose get on a train to go to Bahia, then in the whole sequence with the train coming along, the Araquan is on the train tracks just chilling, smoking the cigar, and he draws train tracks on the thing, and then it causes the train to go in all these multiple different directions and everything like that. It just causes a little bit of tomfoolery and inconvenience, though. But still, I thought that was kind of a dick move there, because who's to say we knew what was going to happen there, So, it's just little minor things like that, So, there you go. So, the Araquan is at number 8 from the Three Caballeros. Alright, number 7, Baloo from the Jungle Book. Baloo, great character, very fun-loving, all about the bare necessities and all that sort of thing there, hanging out with Mowgli. But as you know, the King Louie's monkeys took Mowgli and brought him to the ruins or whatnot there. King Louie sings his bit there or whatnot, thinking that Mowgli can give him fire or whatever, and they rescue him, and there's a whole bit of tomfoolery and commotion about there. At the end of it there, Baloo gets Mowgli back, but they end up, through the process there, one of the ruins gets ruined even more so, and then King Louie has to go ahead and try to fix the ruins there, needless to say, and then Baloo gets sort of an evil look in his face there, and goes ahead and tickles him while his arms are extended upwards there, trying to hold the ruins up. And then the monkeys come in and save him, and then they both get pushed underneath the bits of the ruins, and Baloo just steps aside and leaves the ruins to their fate there. Louie is not hurt or whatnot, but they all, they get a little banged up, but then they all escape and whatnot, and everything is fine. I mean, King Louie did have it coming, probably, admittedly, for kidnapping Mowgli, but at the same time, at that moment, he had it won there. He could have just, while King Louie was trying to hold up his thing there, that would have been the perfect opportunity of a distraction, just be like, okay, he's holding up his ruins, let's just get the hell out of here. But of course, he has that look in his face, and he goes ahead and starts to tickle him there, which makes for an amusing bit, though. But, it's just a brief delay, all things considered, so in the end, again, not that big of a deal. But, there you go. Alright, anywho, What do you say we move on to the next one here? So, shall we? Number 6, Woody from Toy Story. Okay, now anybody who's familiar with the story of how Toy Story came to be and whatnot knows about the Black Friday pitch and such like that. I'm not referring to that, though. I'm referring to, well, okay, because the thing is, Woody's not a villain, and, I mean, his jealousy does get the better of him, and, you know, and you feel bad for him, and you want these two toys to get along and everything like that. But in Toy Story, they do succeed in making Woody a likable character in his own right. But one bit, and I'm not talking about when Woody has Buzz knocked out the window, even though that was by accident. He just wanted to get him knocked in between the wall and the desk there, so that he'd be stuck and wouldn't be able to get out, and he can go with Andy to Pizza Planet. I'm not talking about that bit there. It's Woody's trying to fix his spaceship there. No, Buzz is the one trying to fix his spaceship, not Woody. That would be weird. And they have a conversation there. And because at this point, nobody knows that Buzz thinks that he's the real Buzz Lightyear. And so Woody pushes him, and then the helmet comes off, and then he's suffocating there. And then it's a very brief bit, though. You just see the look on his face, like, really? I thought it was kind of dickish. Instead of, you know, trying to help him, like, hey, what the hell's going on here? You know, he just is like, fuck you. I thought that was a little dickish on Woody's part there. I mean, mind you, there was probably some other things as well that would qualify, but I don't know, that one just stood out to me for some reason there, you know. And then Buzz finds out that the air is fine, and Woody figures out that Buzz thinks he's the real Buzz Lightyear and whatnot. And then that just, sows the seeds for the rest of the movie there, of course. Yeah, kind of a dick move there, Woody, having Buzz thinking he's going to choke or whatnot there, you know. I mean, at least in Toy Story 2, when Buzz did the same trick on the other Buzz, the real Buzz did the same trick on the other Buzz. He was just trying to get the other Buzz to, be out of the equation just briefly so that he can show his friends there that it was the real him and not an imposter, under the circumstances there. So, there you go. Woody, Toy Story. Let's move on to the next one. Number 5, the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland there. Okay. Now, the Cheshire Cat is a mischievous character or whatnot, but when he's first presented, he seems pretty harmless and whatnot. And he directs Alice in the direction of the Mad Hatter and the March Hare and whatnot, But then later on, when she's, alone crying after coming across the Mome Raths and Tolgy Wood and all that stuff there, he reassures her, he lets her know about the Queen, and he provides some help there by giving Alice a shortcut to the palace where the Queen lives. And you're like, okay, he's being helpful here. Okay, cool. He's a little character. Okay, cool. Good for him or whatnot. But then the next time he pops up there, when the Queen and Alice are playing croquet, he starts interfering a little bit and, unknowingly causing the Queen to get pissed off. And then he even puts the croquet thing underneath her dress so that when the Queen goes ahead to swing, it pulls her dress and lifts her up and then knocks her down. And she thinks it's Alice that did that. And so she wants to, off with her head, I thought that, and then even later on when they're in the courtroom there, her hat turns into the Cheshire Cat, she got for her unbirthday. I can't believe I just said that. For her unbirthday, and then, he disappears, and then that just causes a whole big bunch of commotion there. Alice has to use those things to grow briefly, and then it wears off, and then she has to escape from all the chaos there at Wonderland. But it was all a domino effect there, and it was all thanks to the fucking Cheshire Cat. Thanks a lot, buddy. Hope you're proud of yourself. Alright, so let's see. Let's move on to the next one. Now we got number 4, Rabbit from The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Okay, now this is a little bit of a weird one here, but think about this, okay? Because the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh is those three Disney shorts films that were stitched together and to form the feature. The Honey Tree, the Tigger, Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2, and then the Blustery Day. Well, not in that order. It was Honey Tree, Blustery Day, and Winnie and the Pooh and Tigger. So, in the Honey Tree, Pooh wants to go get some honey, and so he goes off on his little adventure there. He tries to get up to the honey tree, didn't quite work out. He goes to visit Rabbit, and he's talking to himself, thinking about, talking to himself, oh, lunch, and he's going to welcome me in and whatnot. Rabbit hears this, and he's like, oh, no, and being a dick that he is there, he scrambles and whatnot, and then Pooh's like, is anybody home? And Rabbit is like, no, and Pooh's like, bother. And then he's like, is there anybody here at home? And then he's like, nobody. But then Pooh, being a smart bear of very little brains, they say, I never liked that they said he had very little brains, because he was smart enough to figure that somebody is there because somebody must have said nobody. Winnie the Pooh, not an idiot. Fucking yeah. And then, then poor Rabbit, and then Rabbit gets busted, putting his mouth near the can, trying to make it sound like somebody else. Isn't that Rabbit's voice? And he's like, I don't think so. It isn't meant to be. But then Pooh busts him right then and there, And so, and then Rabbit gets stuck with that or whatever, though. And then, Pooh eats a lot. He gets stuck in the hole there. And he's like, okay, he has to wait for him to get thin again or whatever, since they can't dig him out. The gopher can't help him or whatever. So he goes ahead and turns him into a hunting trophy there. He starts decorating with Pooh's butt there. And, I mean, that look on Pooh's face is all that shit is being put on his butt there. He's just like, the fuck are you doing? Seriously, take a look at the look on Pooh's face at that moment there. It's one of those classic, what the fuck are you doing kind of looks right there, while Rabbit is turning Pooh's butt into a decoration there, which I don't even know why the hell he had to do that, and plus also, he has another way out of his premises there. It's not like he's stuck in there, so what the hell difference does it make if it needs a fucking decoration, So, I don't know. I picked that moment specifically. I mean, that whole bit about Tigger or whatever, because Tigger probably was getting a little annoying or whatnot, but still, the fact that Rabbit at first was just, all grins and everything while everybody was sad that, with the whole thing about, in the last short there, when, Tigger was forced to promise to not bounce, and Rabbit was just like, yeah, I won. I took the bounce away from Tigger, And I'm like, huh. It made me reconsider whether that Rabbit was actually a villain or whatnot, but I've seen other things or whatnot, and especially Welcome to Pooh Corner, the 80s one on the Disney Channel there or whatnot. He actually is not a bad character, they toned down the dickishness there on that one, and I think that sort of remained consistent there. He's a little grouchy, but, he never did anything that dickish again, but we luckily have this preserved on film to prove how much of a dick Rabbit was there. Alright, so Rabbit number 4. Let's move on to the next one. Juggernauts! Okay, number 3, Wall-E from Wall-E, obviously. And you're probably wondering, what the heck did Wall-E do here? Okay, well, this is a bit that I don't even see people talking about. Maybe I just haven't noticed it or whatnot there, but it's kind of a dick thing he did or whatever. I mean, it made me laugh when I first saw it, but then after seeing the movie a couple more times, I was like, it's kind of a messed up thing that he did, though. Because, he goes after Eva. He attaches it, he grabs onto the ship as Eva is being sent back to the giant spaceship or whatever. And then that cool moment where he's touching the nebula or whatever the heck it is a cool iconic moment or whatnot, which is fine. That's all good and dandy. And then he follows Eva as she's being taken from the ship into the bigger ship to be analyzed. And then a few robots come out and they have to do the decontamination process there. And then out comes a little Mo. And he scans and it's like foreign contaminant, and he starts cleaning. That's what he's supposed to do. And then they grab Wally by mistake and put him in place of one of the pods or whatever. I believe it was Eva, I believe. And he gets scanned by Mo, and it's like, oh, he's covered in foreign contaminants. And so he starts cleaning him up. He starts trying to clean him up, and then Wally just moves away from him like, what the heck is this? You know? Which I guess is understandable because he's just concerned about his girlfriend. All of a sudden, this little robot comes in and starts trying to clean him and buffer him. He's like, what the heck is going on here? And then I think this was out of curiosity, but it still was a little, I mean, part of this was I accepted that it was curiosity for this bit here, you know, like, Mo cleaned the ground, and then Wally touched the ground and made more dirt print. Mo cleaned it up again, and he's like, yeah. Oh, you know, Mo kind of in his, you know, robot voice, you know, or whatever. Like, yeah, what? Then, the thing that turned it from him being curious and funny to being dickish is when he takes when Wally takes his tire footprint and rubs it on Mo's face, and then Mo is like, ah! And he starts cleaning his face right away there. That right there I thought was a pretty dickish move there on Wally's part there. I mean, it was funny, and yeah, maybe Mo was being a little bit annoying, but hey, Mo was just doing his job there or whatever. And in the end, Mo ended up becoming helpful and a friend there, and especially at the very end when Wally and Eve got together, you know, Mo was the one that recognized, okay, they need some, you know, robot time alone there for them to download and uplink and all that other good yummy stuff there that robots do, or how do robots have sex? How do robots have sex anyway? Is it USB? Does anyone know? How do robots have sex? Anyway, why am I even thinking about this? This is just weird. But at that moment at the very end there, you know, Mo was like, go, go, go. When all the robots were trying to make sure Wally was fine, he saw, oh, there's action going on there. So he basically was like, okay, you know, he got the other robots to go away there so that Wally and Eva can have their little alone time there after helping bringing the human civilization back to Earth, you know? So I will give him that, and so it all worked out all right. But still, the first impression there was kind of a dickish one there between Mo and Wally there. So hey, there you go. All right. So like you say, we move on to number 2, right?
WMP.DLL.
What?
I don't even know what that means. It just happens. Do you know what it means?
No, Max, don't get those cryptic error messages.
Number 2, Mike from Monsters, Inc. And I mean the first one, not the college years one or whatnot there. National Lampoon's Monsters, Inc. or whatever you want to fucking call it. At this point, this is after the incident in the Chinese restaurant. They bring, they're terrified of Boo, and they brought her to their apartment. And things are going awry there. Sully takes Mike's teddy bear thingy, whatever the heck it is, and gives it to Boo because Boo was interested in it, and she's holding it and hugging it and whatnot. And then Mike is like, oh, no, no, no. And then he grabs it from her. He's like, that's it. Nobody touches little Mikey. And at that moment right there, when you see poor Boo starting to cry, and Sully's like, give the bear back. And then she starts crying and then causing all that shit there. I'm like, come on, dude. It's just a fucking teddy bear, you know? It keeps her quiet. What the hell, man? You know, I've actually felt glad for all the times later on in the movie where Mike got hurt. You know, I mean, I don't dislike Mike as a character, but I was rooting for him in Monsters University, whatever that movie is. I was rooting for him there, but in this one, that one little bit right there, it's like, you know, every time that he got hurt or whatever, you know, I took a little bit of satisfaction in that. I'm like, that's what you get for being a dick to that poor little girl there and taking that teddy bear from her, you know? Serves you right. Not cool at all, you know? But, so, it all worked out there. So, are you ready for number 1? I sure as hell am. But before we get to number 1, here's the one bonus moment here. It's not really a Disney movie per se, but it's an animated short there. This is one that I use a lot on YouTube, not Twitter, as a joke there. I don't have a still from the original cartoon, and I don't want to put a still or a GIF file in there, because it's such a short little bit though. But it's a Chip and Dale cartoon, a Christmas one. At the very end, I mean, Mickey is in a cabin or whatever. They brought a Christmas tree in where they're living, where the Chip and Dale are living. Pluto is up to his business there, trying to get rid of the chipmunks, Chip and Dale. And then at the very end, he jumps into the tree. Yeah, he literally jumps into the tree Mickey goes in after him. The tree gets ruined. And then Mickey, in a bit of rage there, grabs Pluto by the neck. And I'm not making this up. Look, you can see clearly. He's grabbing him by the neck. And he's like, "You dumb mutt. Not what you've done to our tree." But at that moment he stops and they realize there's two chipmunks in there. And he's nice to them. He scolds Pluto for barking at them. And then you hear Christmas, jingle bells or whatever going on there. And whatnot, and then everything's all fine and dandy with the rest of the cartoon. I mean, it's the end of the cartoon there, basically. But still, Mickey, what the hell? I mean, were you jealous because Pluto was a planet for a while? Come on, man, that's just sort of a dick thing to do. Not cool. And definitely wouldn't fly today. You try that kind of shit today, I guarantee you, PETA and every single animal rights organization and all kinds of other organizations or whatever would be so far up your ass. You wouldn't be able to shit that out for a long-ass time. I guarantee it. Alright. And now, let's move on to number 1, shall we? Number 1, Sleeping Beauty. Oh, dear Lord. Ugh. This moment just really bugs me, all things considered there. Alright, well, you're familiar with the Disney version of Sleeping Beauty, of course, here. The king and queen have a daughter, and everything is great. But then Maleficent comes. She wasn't invited. She gets pissed off, puts a spell on the kid, where she's going to prick her finger right before her 16th birthday on the spindle of a spinning wheel, and she's going to die. But the three fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, red, green, and blue, respectively, were giving the child gifts, but Merryweather allowed her gift to change the spell so that, true love's first kiss will be well awake her, a little like Snow White, which is great, But then the king and queen, they burn all the spinning wheels, the king and queen, and then the fairies decide to raise the little girl in the forest as humans to try to keep her safe from Maleficent. And they go ahead and do this. But then they send her off so they can go ahead and plan a party, and then at the party, at the end of it, they're going to let her know that, hey, you're a princess, and we're going to bring you back to your father, and all that stuff there. And with that, there was going to be, they were going to make a birthday cake, they were going to make her a dress, clean up a little bit, and whatnot, which is fine. But the thing is, they decide not to use their magic during the whole 16-year tenure there, and they decide not to do it at the very end. Basically, Flora is trying to make the dress, but she doesn't know what the heck she's doing. She has Merryweather act as her model there, and it's all completely messed up. But then, at one moment there, when she's, the dress is still a work in progress, but Flora doesn't know what the heck she's doing, needless to say. Merryweather looks at it, and it's like, it looks awful. And then Flora says, "That's because it's on you, dear." If I were Merryweather, I would have drop-kicked her ass right then and there for saying that shit to me. I mean, really? She had to go there? Some sort of body-shaming thing or whatever? And I will go on record and say that I think of all of them, Merryweather is the cutest one of all of those three fairies, okay? Thank you very much. Yes, I like them a little meat on their bones there. Sue me. But anyway, regardless of your opinion on that sort of thing or whatever, that was just a very dickish thing for her to say. And that one moment, just really made me dislike the character, in my opinion there. So I was always Team Merryweather all the way there. Especially with the whole make it pink, make it blue thing with the dress or whatever. I mean, I always thought the blue dress looked better anyway. But, of course, in all the media nowadays, you see her with the pink dress, but whatever. I mean, yeah, I know that the character has been on various other bits of media after the fact. I think they had like a Disney Young Princess show or something where the character is cameoed or whatever, and I haven't seen any of those things, obviously. So hopefully the character has become less of an asshole, all things considered there. But just made me it was just really not cool what she said there, and I'm like, really? It's just like a whole nother form of unintentional bullying right there, you know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but still, that comment just rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, just think about what we said there. Just think about that, okay? Just think about that. And, you know, you be the judge there if you feel that was a justified statement on her part or just her being a dick, you know, being a bitch. But bottom line, this is my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, of course. If there were any other moments I mean, be civil in the comments, of course, but you're more than welcome to share your opinion, of course. If you have if there are any moments that I overlooked in Disney movies, let me know. Disney and Pixar movies that fit this criteria, let me know. And thanks for watching.